Oh, always gotta start with the craziness. Oh shit. What's up, people? How's it going? Um, welcome to another night of HorrorWithSirSturdy. It's another foreign night of Sturd-o-ween. So happy Sturd-o-ween. It's the 31st day, and wow, we're around that corner, wrapping around that corner, and it's October 1st. So happy October 1st.
Yeah,
Happy Snobtober for you.
October.
It is
Snobtober as
spooky
well.
month,
So,
officially.
Spook
Spooky
snobs,
month.
spooky season,
Yes.
spooky month.
Mhm.
Halloween's right around the corner, all that fun shit. But
Oh yeah.
tonight's movie was, I mean, I had a good time with it. There was nothing fun about the situation at all. At all.
It's wild.
I would say just because of like the survival aspect, as far as like the storyline ish, is where the similarities you get from this and the Hunger Games. That's
Mhm.
it. That is it. After that, if you compare these two movies, Hunger Games
Mm-mm.
is for babies. Hunger Games is like what you should show your newborn.
Yeah,
Compared to this movie, it's like,
this
listen,
movie. Yeah, this is a first time watch for me. This movie, I'm watching it. Just the story itself is wild. You
it's
get
crazy.
randomly selected. Your class gets randomly selected because the parents got sick of the kids and made a law, BR law, the Battle Royale
Battle Royale.
fucking law, where they're like, we'll teach these kids, we're gonna have them kill each other. Like, what the fuck kind of
Yep.
shit is that?
Yep. And they fucking did. They did, which we'll get into. But this movie
Man,
here, whew, Battle Royale is wild. It is
for some
wild.
reason, Lord of the Flies popped in my head when I was watching this.
I
That is
still
a
have not
very good
watched that
thing, and I
movie.
will touch upon that later in the show.
I still
as
have
we
not.
talk about
I need to throw that on one of these wheels because you did promise somebody that you would watch that movie
Yeah,
and talk
I
about
did
it.
promise someone I never watched it. I never watched the movie, but I know the book. I read the book.
It's not. I know it's not in black and white, unfortunately.
Oh, the Brooks version of Lord of the Flies is.
Is in black and white.
Yes, and it is amazing. It is a British version that has the
Okay.
nastiness of the book.
I
Oh
may have
no,
to. I may have to fit that into.
that's
a
right. Because
November. I may
yeah,
have to
the
fit that into
UK they
November
crossed
because
that line. They don't
we
have
need the
SEC.
black and white. We need to do Lord of the Flies, so we'll do that one, and maybe we'll do that one with the black and white one, and then do the one that you were requested to watch. We'll kind of compare them. That way, we finally get that movie done, and we do follow the rules of November and do the black and white one.
Mhm.
All right, sounds good.
Sounds lovely.
But
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that definitely popped in my head when I was watching this. I was like, huh. I was like, okay. But then all hell broke loose, and I was like, you.
Oh shit! It did. Oh shit! It did. And
They had a little bit of everything in there, like in every like human, how humans would react in that situation. I believe
they really did. And you see so much with it. Like
especially
I was thinking,
teenagers.
yeah, they
Mhm.
act. I mean,
Yeah.
they act like you're saying, just like it would be just like an adult, how adults act. In that same situation, you're gonna have people that aren't gonna want to do anything, and they may not do anything. They're gonna be scared and just not gonna want to do it, and think that
Yep, just
if
shut
they do,
down. Yep.
they may think if they do. Some may think if they just do, if everybody just does nothing, nothing's gonna happen. It's just like a big scare thing. And
Mhm.
some people are just like, listen,
I'm
this
not
doesn't seem
chancing
like
it.
this
Yeah.
this isn't a game. Like, yes, it's the death game, but this isn't a game. Like, we gotta survive. I have to survive.
Yeah.
And you seen so much. You even seen some heroics in this. As crazy as that is to say about this movie, you seen some heroics in this shit. But you're just like,
And you even seen a couple people that were like, I'm not playing this shit. I
Mhm.
can't do this. And they you know,
they
the
gave up.
ex-life system. Yep.
They gave up.
Jumped off the cliff. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. They had touched a little bit of everything, like reactions of real life scenarios, like
Mhm.
how each person like could have a different way of taking that situation. Like
Which
I was thinking, I'm like, what would I have done? Would I be the one who just like, I'm gonna die anyways, just sit there?
it's
I don't
and
know. I was thinking it.
it's hard to say too, because like right now I am 38 years. I'll be 39 in November. I'm 38 years old, so it's like as a grown man, you're gonna think way different. And even now, I don't know what the fuck I would do because people always say what they would do in certain situations until you're in them.
Well,
And
you
then
know,
when
the
you're
movie
really
tells you what to do.
say that again.
The movie tells you what to do.
Yeah, it definitely does.
It literally tells you the final card you will see at the ending of the film is the caricatures for keep running.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important. And I haven't really said a lot because I've got a lot of history with this movie. I remember the obsession that went across the film world because Battle Royale was like nothing ever before. And we had to actually track down bootlegs and such because of another controversy involving the film, which you didn't have Battle Royale available in the United States until 10 years after it came out, which
Damn.
gives this movie this amazing mystique and makes it so important, you know, in Japanese film. And it is one of those films that I think people, if you like it, should every so many years watch it again,
Yeah.
because much more than the Hunger Games, much more like other serious dystopian fiction, this is a film that will say, so like right now, we don't talk about certain things, but I am going to bring up a trigger term, and that's fascism. If you look at this film based on the concepts of fascism, totalitarianism, all those big weighty things that parts of the world, I'm not going to say where because I don't want to take any political sides no matter what, um, we don't know what's going to happen. So we might be living even closer to a totalitarian state, which Kinji Fukasaku, the director of this film, and Kushan Takami, the writer of the 1999 book, did. Very significant book in dystopian fiction. This is a frightening film for many, many ways. So,
Mm-hmm. This is a wild. Oh my gosh, this film is
mm,
just like once it gets going, it's you don't know, but like once it, even like the common parts, I was gonna say once it's going, it doesn't stop, but it does. There is
mhm,
parts where it does slow down, but even those parts where it does slow down, there's still some shit where it's just like, oh my god, I didn't think that
mhm,
person was gonna do that right then and there. I thought they were like I thought they were good friends.
mhm.
They were literally just hugging the last scene, and now, wow,
Well, that if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about the director, Kinji Fukasaku,
yeah, can,
because of Kinji Fukasaku, you got those feelings. So Kinji Fukasaku took on to himself bringing this book to film. It was his 60th full-length feature film. It was actually written from book to screen by his son, who eventually went on to direct a sequel, which I don't really want to talk about. So, what
I gotta
about
see.
Kinji Fukasaku is so
I
important?
do gotta see it
So,
again.
Kinji Fukasaku was a studio director that, much like Seizon Suzuki and a lot of other directors that pushed the fold, like Aishi and people like that, you had a lot of his films that were rather subversive, but took and rewrote the language of Yakuza cinema, especially Yakuza. So the Battles Against Honor and Humanity series, which is this mammoth film series that even has a trilogy after it, sets the bar for what is Japanese Yakuza cinema.
Hmm.
And also, Kinji is probably on a short list of uh, Tarantino's top 5 directors easily. He was in the science fiction realm. He was also somebody that a lot of people hired as far as working with other countries in Japan. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this weird little movie called The Green Slime,
Uh-uh.
but that was directed by Kinji Fukasaku. It's a horrible 1960s sci-fi film. But he also took on, as he got older, he took on more and more political films, like Dr. Lam, and we said about, you know, police violence. Kinji Fukasaku's films were the first films to put that right beside everything. And his Yakuza films were not balanced for either or. They gave both sides equally, and the editing, the gore, everything. So Kinji Fukasaku is just one of those super important filmmakers. He stumbled upon this book and decided that he was going to, he loved it. He loved it to the point that he really connected with it. There's a little quote here by Kinji Fukasaku that was given in an interview by the great Tom Mess, who runs a website that I think is defunct called Midnight Eye. But if you want information, that's great. So this is what Kinji said. I immediately identified with the ninth graders in the novel of Battle Royale. I was 15 when World War II came to its end.
Oh, wow.
By then, my class had been drafted and I was working in the ammunitions factory. In July 1945, we were caught up in artillery fire. Up until then, the attacks had been air raids, and you had a chance of escaping those. But the artillery, there was no way. It was impossible to run or hide from the shells. And he keeps going on and on. So when Kinji stumbled upon this book, he kind of viewed it in his own way as potentially his swan song, because he truly felt for the characters in this book, and even went on many times to say after the production that he was so happy he got to work with 42 different young people, and it meant so much to him.
Wow.
So just Kinji is an amazing person, and there's nobody that could have made this movie but Kinji Fukasaku. So but that's one of the things to really love about the movie.
That's wow. And you really don't like the second one at all.
I'm going to revisit. A lot of fans. We eventually got a hold of a box set and we got a chance to see the second one after 10 years of hype. And then we get both of them right. The second one's is going to suck no matter what. But I want to revisit it. I want to revisit it after deep diving this, because it's his son's a different director. But his son also did not go away from the concepts that Kinji Fukasaku was going to do. So you can't put all the blame on him at all.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I want to revisit it too, because I from what I remember, I thought I liked it, but I haven't seen it in years. Last time I seen that one was the last time I seen the first one. I think I watched them back to back, or one night and one the following night. I want to say they were on Netflix for a little bit. Maybe that's how I found. I don't know, or somebody told me to check them out. It was either somebody told me to check them out, or they were like on a stream. I believe they were on Netflix. I want to say that. I could be wrong. And just seeing them on there, I was like, oh shit, let me check these out. And boom. And it was around when the Hunger Games was like out streaming.
Yep.
And then these were out. So I feel like it was probably on Netflix or something streaming, and I'm glad it was.
Well, to say that the Hunger Games ripped off Battle Royale would not be fair. But what I can say is the novel and also the movie put dystopian cinema in a place that it hadn't been for a long time. So the movie made gonzo dollars. It came in third for the year, but only behind Spirited Away and a Pokemon movie. So yeah, it did really, really well. And the government did not want it to. They could not suppress it, but they gave it. Yeah. So 15 at the time was right before you headed into X, or the equivalent of X for Japan. But still, it was a bad rating to have. You were guaranteed that you wouldn't make as much money. So it was a huge surprise that it wasn't a surprise, because Kinji wrote it at the right time. So this sold millions of copies and has been translated literally, like, just in Japan, millions of copies. So everybody wanted this. There was no way they weren't going to release this film. The only thing they didn't expect is the year that it did get released, it was up for, I think, 8 Japanese Academy Awards, which it won like 3 or 4 of them. It was up for Best Picture, and it lost to a film, something of the Rain, I forget. But that was one of the last unfinished screenplays of Akira Kurosawa. Bless him, but Battle Royale, you didn't have a chance. So, but no, it is a timeless film. In the same way that Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 is a timeless book, or Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five, Lord of the Flies. You brought that up.
Yeah.
Huge influence on the book, but also on the film. It's okay. So let's look at the Battle Royale Act in itself. So what is it? Why is it put into effect? Well, it's put into effect because apparently teenagers, juveniles, have lost control, or vice versa, and violence is up, especially in schools, which was timely for us also, but there was an issue in Japan around this time that violence did go up in schools because you had to pay to go to high school in Japan. It isn't that way now, but for a while it was. And that did actually cause a surge in violence. So elements of this book did, it reflected a contemporary reality. I mean, they're still living under the emperor.
Yeah.
And at any time that could be, whatever. But no, it's this amazing fear of, just totalitarianism. So the BR Act is simply a way, in the book, it's actually more of a military concept. The military latches onto it, and the military uses it as some form of training for whatever, but it's also being used to suppress the people from speaking their minds, suppressing the young from rebelling. And within a totalitarian fascist government, rebel has a very, very loose meaning. Oh, you're an intellectual. Oh, I bet you're that. That's the horrible part of a totalitarian fascist government. And it gets to the point that sometimes you're forced to throw other people under the bus to either protect yourself or your family. And it's also a film about the youth standing up. And that's why I think it's such an important film for the end of Fukasaku's career, because that was a major part of his generation of filmmakers. Things like the Stray Cat Rock series, things like that. The idea of the juvenile delinquent has always been something that's been popular in Japanese media. But yeah, I mean, this is a film that hits you on a lot of levels.
Does it? And I gotta say this: the acting in this film, was very, 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 very good.
That teacher, I seen him in other films. He looked like he's like a well-known actor.
He's
in movies.
Also on a game show, but he helped found the game show. He started as a comedian and also part of a duo of comedians and singers.
Holy shit.
Then eventually went on to do bigger and better things slowly. At one point, he and Kinji Fukasaku actually cross paths. And that is for a film called Violent Cop, which was going to be Beat Katano Takeshi, Beat Man, whatever you want to call him. That was going to be a vehicle for him to get out of the cliche that was him as a comedian, game show host, public persona. Well, for various reasons, Kinji had to back out. And Violent Cop ended up being the directorial debut of Takashi Kitano, sorry. It is in itself one of the most important pieces of Japanese violent cinema. and it was critically hailed, and he just skyrocketed and was embraced big time by the art house community, releasing this very interesting style of violent film. But also, he was in the remake of Zatoichi, and he shows up other random places, and he's back to being on a game show. The guy's awesome.
He is.
Beat Kitano is the man.
He is. He is. Doing all that. That's holy shit.
Also, okay, so why is he perfect as the teacher that is representative of the, what actually is a name for it, the Republic of Greater East Asia? It's not Japan in the book, it is the Republic of Greater East Asia. What more stoic asshole could you get to represent that? Now, I say that because this gives you an idea of how he is as an actor. And you watch his movie, like there's a great film, Anarchy. But several years after Violent Cop, he suffered an injury that paralyzed half his face. You never noticed it, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was in this movie that half his face was paralyzed?
Yeah. Half his face
Oh
is
my
paralyzed at that point.
gosh.
He's
Oh,
amazing.
shit.
The guy is,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
a
good.
legend to behold.
That's awesome.
So with
Like
this, so with this law,
Mhm.
so to teach the kids a lesson, like, okay, you're out of control. We're going to teach you a lesson. You guys are going to kill each other. The thing is, for one, they're losing young people. Like they're, well, okay, population control. I understand that. Okay, fine. But here's the thing: the problem is, if it goes true, the survivor can be freed. They basically just broke down that person mentally and created a serial killer.
possibly.
But
You're releasing that in the
But
street.
in the world that, okay, this let's make it connections to Hunger Games. In a world that's presented like it is in Battle Royale, the winner of Battle Royale would go on to be the equivalent of some kind of pageant winner that had amazing
Oh.
clout, very much like the Hunger Games.
Hmm.
That's why the film, when it opens and it shows the winner, it's this little girl covered in blood with this grin of total evil, because the only reason why she survived is every moralistic thing that people had trouble doing in this movie, or maybe ended up killing themselves because they couldn't or whatever. This little girl was able to get herself down to the point of almost being the perfect soldier.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is control.
Wow.
That is how savage. Like literally, the winner of Battle Royale is now so immensely scarred. They may not be a serial killer, but they've literally given so much up that what do they have?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's another really interesting aspect of this film and this book, and makes it such an interesting parallel to Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies, of course, is much more basic than this. The idea of, if there was a stranded class of boys, how would they break up into a potential society? And of course, the outcome is not good. This is more of a society out of control and doing everything horrible to its youth. So, you know, it does, it's a modern way that Lord of the Flies tells in a very basic story, but it's the same thing. It's totally the same thing. I mean, how low will you go to survive? And as the one character who actually, is penetrates the games, because he was a winner, but there's a long history involving him, but he wants to out the games.
Hmm.
And he successfully does at the end of the film. But that's there need to be some heroicism in the film.
Yeah.
There, the ending of the film is so fascinating in itself because it's one of those movies that, and Japanese cinema is so good at this in general, is when Kitano, who goes by the name Kitano in the film, I believe, is shot numerous times, he falls down. But his phone rings, which
I
he
was just
knows
going
is
to
his
bring that up.
daughter,
I was
which is
going to
a
bring
whole
that too.
other
I wrote it.
thing.
I
His
wrote it
daughter is
down.
very important in here. So he gets up, he answers the phone, and basically says, "Yeah, not doing it tonight. Not going to happen." Boom. It's one of
Yep.
the best, oh my God, should I laugh at this, scenes in cinema up to that point.
That's why I wrote that. As soon as I seen that, I wrote that down. I was like, this dude just took like
Yep.
9 shots to the chest, falls down like he's dead. The phone rings. He just pops up like there's nothing wrong with him. Just go answer the phone.
This is totally a guess by me. There's no bad or whatever, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was not necessarily completely the same way in the script, because I could see Kitano telling Kinji, "Hey, we need something to break this. We need something absurd," and almost being like an impromptu thing that comedian Beat Kitano did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to think that. It's just
He even said on the couch.
there's no anything. Yeah.
He sat on the couch and ate a cookie.
Yeah. My
A
last
cookie?
cookie.
He
Well,
ate all the. Oh, when he died, that was funny. But he
Yeah,
ate
he
all
yeah.
just
the
died.
cookie.
He just sat down and ate a cookie. I was
Well,
like,
he
okay.
sits there and he knows he's a failure. He finally kind of
Ugh.
figures it out and is like just resigns to it because
So really quick, was he rigging the game? Was he trying to get the girl to win?
he was not rigging the game. Well, I don't know. I don't think he was. I think maybe certain things might have been done, but okay, so talking about teenage delinquency. So Kitano does not have a good relationship with his daughter at all. She calls several times. Yes, she's rude, but it's for obvious reasons. There's no question. And it's really this strange thing that, this is the guy who is the face of the BR Act for this particular class, and he can't control his own home. He's a failure. It's not what is being preached, which is the elders are correct and you are wrong, which a lot of people need to just simply go, things change and listen. But in a totalitarian government, oh no, things don't change. And if anybody rocks the boat, I mean, that's how like things like in South America, when vocalist Victor Jara, who wrote Nueva Trova songs, was taken into a stadium, and many people, desaparecidos, ended up dying just there. But in public, they cut off his hands
Oh
in
shit.
front of everybody. And that is the eventual fear of a totalitarian government. An event. I mean, you got to look at the media side of this. Anybody else get a little bit of a RoboCop vibe? RoboCop had all those sarcastic commercials and, TV spots and news stuff. Because one of the shocking things is, this film does not really let up, is they're introduced to the BR Act and what they're going to have to do and why they're there by this almost Girl Scout-esque kawaii powder puff something. And it's such a play with media there that, okay, we are going to propaganda this as this is a good thing, which is kind of the beginning of a lot of things like fascism, totalitarianism, authoritarianism. Yeah, there's all kind of fun stuff, but none of it's good. None of it's good at all. Yeah.
No. No.
Oh, we also got to mention the kid who volunteered to join it.
Mm-hmm.
That kid is a psychopath.
Oh, the one with the
Oh, okay. So before I forget, so a couple things that also pertain to this movie is, so back in 1947, there was a law that was passed that brought the age of, the age in which a minor was no longer a minor or was a minor and could be put in jail as an adult. And it was rather high. Around the 1974 or so, well, actually, no, but close around 1997, 1998, there was a young man who was 14, and he did some really horrible things to people that were his age and younger, including the decapitation of one,
damn.
and also 2 months out, he admitted to killing a child and hiding it. This particular person also did a lot of weird communication with police, writing letters, things like that. When it was discovered that this was a 14-year-old boy, yet again, shock waves went through. At this time, also, Japan is starting to veer onto what is the economic bomb. It goes down. So, Japan at this time is experiencing a lot of class issues. It's experiencing a lot of people losing their jobs. Um, there's there's a lot of genuine fears in Japan that makes, this book and this movie as important as it is at that time. Um, yeah, it is this timeless, wonderful film that makes you sick to your stomach at the end. But
It
still, there's nothing like it.
no, not at all. I was gonna say it is like overall it is you could no you can say it is a sad story,
Hmm.
but it's also like a good movie, and it's crazy, it's entertaining, and in the sense of you're just like holy shit, wow, like they're really taking it there. And again, kudos to the acting because
Hmm.
to pull off those scenes with every emotion that these kids showed and showing it, just really showing it in their face,
Hmm.
showing it if they had to crying, showing if they had to be mad, whatever the case may be. You believed it. It was very
Hmm.
believable, which
Hmm.
helps a lot. Helps a
Hmm.
lot.
Hmm. Well, one
And
thing I hate to interrupt, but I'm going to forget otherwise because I forgot. Pertaining to the law as far as age, very close to the time of the writing of this book, it became in Japan, if you were 14 or under, you could be tried as an adult. So I'm
Oh,
sorry, but
damn.
that was I was supposed to end the last jabberish thing with that, but thank you.
14 and
Yeah.
under. So
Yeah,
that's
based on that killing specifically. I
so
mean, that was a
with
big catalyst.
with that said, that means you could just like come out of the womb. You're just like, yo, you did something. Time to go to jail. Because it's 14 and I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm just saying 14 and under. Where does under stop?
Well, this gentleman is quite active and actually goes under a pseudonym right now in the world of media, and that's
Really?
what eventually changed things. It was like, no, this person should have stayed. I mean, he's hasn't done anything. He's, whatever, but that's what changed things to the point you start understanding that even at this time period, there is kind of an overall fear of youth. I mean, we're coming out of the Columbine situation and school shootings, and the world
Yeah. Yeah.
is also dealing with issues of violence, which, is just a piece of work that is so referential to so many things. And that's what Kinji could see in this movie. Is like, this makes as much sense to me now as if I would have been 15 and in the trenches. It means the exact same thing. And
Mm.
I can't imagine a better swan song. And yet again, I just have to recommend the movies of Kinji Fukasaku. This movie is also referenced multiple times in Kill Bill. One of the main crazy eight is actually the yellow suit young lady who is almost sexually
the
assaulted.
the
That is the
jogger.
same actress. And I believe it's been, I think he did say it at one point that he wanted her in the movie because that scene with her in the tracksuit actually was a major influence on The Bride as far as her aesthetic, and that's why he wanted her in the movie.
I like that.
Yep.
That's cool.
I gotta watch those. I haven't seen the Kill Bill movies in years.
Yeah.
I want to revisit them because I have not since they were in theaters. And my understanding of Japanese theater then, a film then versus now, I have a feeling that I'm going to spend all 2 movies squealing. So,
That should be a good. That should be a good time. We'll have to do that over on Popcorn and Pints, but that'll be a good.
that
That'd be
sounds
a
like
good.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But yeah, what was I gonna say? With like the just with everything again, going with the emotions with the kids, the way they were fighting, the way that you've seen friends turn on each other. Like the one girl,
Just
had,
in a blink of an eye.
yeah,
Mhm.
the one girl that came into the little shack that the one girl, that the chick was hiding in under the little desk.
Oh,
with
the
the
worst
taser.
one is the group of girls that were getting along, cooking the dinner with each other.
Yo,
They just that's just one little incident. Everybody just lost trust and snapped.
Well, we did mention one integral thing. And this explains a bit more about how many people just made that split decision. I've got to live.
Mhm.
And that is everyone who took part in the Battle Royale was they had a collar.
Yes.
That collar recorded them.
Mhm.
It also monitored as far as their heartbeat, everything.
Yep,
If it was tampered with in any way, it would explode.
and it blows their
You,
throat. Yo, it
it
blows their
literally,
throat out.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
You have to see that.
wondrous sea of gore.
Yep.
But also, if they do not successfully have only one at the end of blank time, all will go off. So
Mhm.
that's where it really gets sticky. Like, okay, we like Lord of the Flies, they might have been picked up, whatever. These students don't have that option. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you guys, you got to kill your people. You got to kill them. There's no
Yep.
way. No, 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 no. No, but wait. Here's the zinger, guys. You're all gonna die if you don't.
Yeah. They played a video. It brought me back to school watching those videos when they brought the TV
But
in.
they brought the TV
Mhm.
in.
You
You
gotta
know,
watch
say,
the videos.
yeah,
Or a video when you get a job and they tell you about the company.
yo,
I'm like,
those
The
those videos
onboarding
are so fucking.
videos.
The safety videos are so boring and so. It's the dumbest shit in the. Like you see you watch the safety videos, you're like, who
Mhm.
would really do this stupid shit?
Friday night.
And the sad thing is, people have done it and gotten hurt multiple times for them to make it a rule for people not to do it. But just like, I'm like, why does it have to take somebody to get hurt to know not to do this shit? It's just
yeah,
you would think it would just be common sense. Like there's certain things
yeah.
where it's like, don't climb this ladder without locking it in place. Like who the hell's not gonna lock
Well,
it in place? Do
a lot of
whatever
people
the
don't have
safety
common
measures are.
sense.
Like
Mm.
I understand you want to get things done faster, but shit, man.
I even like how they made the video, the woman who was given the rules,
Mhm.
how they made her like, oh, and by the way, if you tamper with your collar, and she talked like that, she's like, boom.
You know
I'm
what it
like,
reminded me of?
That also was, in many ways, that to us that seemed really over the top.
yeah, yeah,
It was a little bit over the top because of what it was about, but also you got to remember that was also a pretty good idea of Japanese general like
Mhm.
TV.
yeah.
So it was still representative of the culture at that time. What was frightening was that such horrible things that the um, Republic of the Greater East Asia was doing. Um, Yeah, that's the frightening part when, you know, and that's another element of the Hunger Games that, you know, isn't touched, but it's touched upon in other movies and other things. Like,
Mhm.
so Battle Royale, like the Belko Experiment and movies like that, you know, there's so much this movie has made possible in not just a dystopian realm, but also you can see that after this film came out and word got around, the number of video games that came out that involved people on an island like went. So in itself, it also really kind of formed a video game subgenre.
That's pretty cool.
They
Yeah.
even had a movie with Stone Cold, Condemned, where they put
Mhm.
prisoners on the island. They had the collars.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a great Ray Liotta film, although the ad actually came before. So yeah, I forget the name of that one, but he was in one that did the same thing that was way before this by maybe not by a couple years. But
Because they had the
Yeah,
prisoners fight for their freedom. They're like, hey, we're putting you on this island.
Yep.
Last
yeah, I
one
mean you can
standing.
make comparisons to Running Man.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Oh
I
yeah.
forgot about
Oh
Running
yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
Arnold
it's
Schwarzenegger.
especially and that's why I brought up the RoboCop thing, is you get this impression that there's a voyeuristic quality to this. It
Okay.
never tells you, it never explains it, but that's one of the creepy elements. And I think it goes more into that by not making it so overt versus the other dystopian movies that became very popular. I mean, it maybe it is broadcast. We don't know, but we we feel really much. It feels very much like you're watching something you shouldn't be watching. It's very
Yeah.
voyeuristic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it also does a really good job to give a little bit of backstory on some of the more what you would consider, you know, vicious characters or problem characters. It does do a little bit of digging that, you know, this would explain why in this situation they would automatically go into like kill mode.
Mhm.
Like the girl with the
So
sickle.
yeah, it's very sympathetic. Such as the, you know, the father that kills himself. This was confusing to me, and I don't in the book. It was been years and years and years, but had his pants down. So
I
was
think it was an accident.
it was
I think it was
that's what I thought originally, but it
I think
doesn't
he was
go
doing that. I forgot what it's called. He was doing that choke jerk thing.
autoeroticism, but I mean, you know, you can't guarantee that's going to work. I mean, if you're going to go, I mean, I guess that's I coming and going. I don't know, but
Come and go.
it was pointed out to me, and that I just got fixated in my head. I'm like,
You're like, why is his pants down? What the hell's
there's no
going on?
reason unless. I mean, now if he had committed harikari or something,
Yeah, yeah.
that would have made sense. But oh no, it makes sense. It's just, you know, maybe
Yeah.
wonder a little bit more about, you know,
Maybe he hated
his
himself. It was a shame
intentions. You
thing.
know, it's autoeroticism while covered in toilet paper, and you went a writing all over it. It's like,
Maybe somebody else pulled his pants down to embarrass him.
Or maybe he did it
well,
to shame
whatever it is,
himself.
it caused trauma, and also in its own way gave his son like direction because of what was
Yeah.
written on the toilet paper. So
Wow.
Damn.
I always listen to things written on toilet paper. So
And I liked how the duffel bags had mystery weapons.
Yep.
Taser, someone had binoculars. That don't count as a weapon.
Did you see one of the main characters had the top of a pan?
Yeah, the top. Yeah,
Yeah.
he had the main character had that. He was like, "What is this?" I was like, first thing I said was like, "You're Captain America."
Yep.
Throw that shit.
Yep.
Throw that shit.
This is basically also, as I said before, and this is he brings it back to, you know, the themes behind the book and everything. This is very much also kind of like a military game. Because trust me, they're studying at that time. Okay, well, how would these people act? How would these? Because they're also looking at, okay, well, we're going to take these in. They're archetypal of the rebellious, the those people that push, don't fit into what we consider society. That is basically what that school is representing for Japan. And to watch how each kind of young person will do whatever makes you understand a little bit more about your potential enemy, but also continues a narrative of how violent these young folk are. So
crazy.
I mean, they
Even though the
have.
dude had a cheat weapon, he had a
it
machine
is
gun, man. I think
it
that
is
was
a
a cheat.
dark future.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I like.
Well, I
that
mean,
you
it was
mentioned
every
that, dude.
essence. The poison was really
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
that's
a
not a
big mess
weapon.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
the
that
poison
went
was
out
good.
of control fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was that scene. I was like, damn.
Where she put, oh my goodness, like she was just like, I'll feed, when she wanted to bring the one dude the food, because she blamed him for her boyfriend's death, even though her
Yeah,
boyfriend attacked him with the weapon and all that, and he was defending himself,
Mhm.
trying to defend the girl, and he didn't
yeah.
even do anything. They were tussling on the hill, and he rolled,
Yeah.
and it just happened.
But
Yeah.
how it was weird that that scene gives us like false security.
Yeah. You're like, how the axe get in
Almost
his
like
head
that
like that?
like the house and whatever zombie film, let's say Night of the Living Dead. Everybody's in a house. They at least have that element of safety. How
Yeah.
quickly by one character's desire can take what is potentially the beginning of what could be a more of a work together society in a
Hmm.
nightmare, and literally pushes a button that causes everybody to just go crazy and kill everybody.
That scene
Yeah,
was
I
crazy. I was
mean,
like, God damn. It
yeah,
was
you
like
got
one of the best scenes.
these kids are wound tight.
Yeah.
Another interesting one is that you have three of the students working on various levels of bomb making, but
Yeah.
also how to hack in to
Shut down the system,
system.
which is awesome.
Is awesome, and it also is amazingly a huge reference to the idea of rebellion, to the idea that yes, there, I mean, even in this craziness and whatever, there was a group that had been taught whatever how that
Mhm.
they were going to figure out how to go against the system. They are your three rebellious humans, not youth. The
Rage Against the
magazine
Machine.
is that's actually held by them about the I think it's like the ticking bomb or whatever. That actually was a publication that goes back to the 60s, and a whole bunch of rebellious organizations in Japan that at certain times became violent.
Oh,
So I mean, Kinji and I mean, they know their stuff. There's a lot of
Yeah.
deep diving
That's
history
cool.
in this film.
damn,
But, even though it doesn't work, it does work by
it,
them actually using themselves against, like literally, how can you do it? Okay, I'm going to break into what little bit of a communication system there is, and I'm going to overthrow Battle Royale, which does happen. I mean, the sequel, I do remember that I felt that it just didn't feel like the first one, and the 3-year lapse, it just seemed a little too out there. But
Mm.
yeah,
see, I gotta go back and watch that one again. Again, I haven't seen.
I gotta watch it. Never seen
Weird.
it, so I gotta watch it now because I
Oh,
watched this one.
you got something to watch Friday.
Now,
Then.
okay, here's a question about the second one. Then,
okay,
say you didn't see the first one. If it was a standalone movie, would
it
it
would
be
make no
better?
conceivable sense.
Oh, really?
It doesn't.
So they don't.
I mean, I
Oh,
do remember that it is not well put together.
oh,
It
okay,
doesn't
okay,
tell a story well. That I do very much remember about it.
okay.
Now how older eyes will look back at it, especially looking more sympathetically at the fact that it's Kinji's son who
Mhm.
also wrote the first film. I think too many eyes were on him as being part of a generation that was like, oh, you're doing this, the heat is on. We don't think like that anymore. At least I hope we don't, thank God.
Yeah.
I want to see there's love there to finish his father's film. There's love, so I do want to revisit it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely am. Maybe sometime next week or maybe this week. I don't know. Like, I'm gonna revisit it though. I'm
Mm.
gonna revisit it because I just
Mm.
shit. I seen this one again, so I'm like, why not? I feel like in the second one there was more fighting, but even though there was a lot in this one, I feel like there was more in that one. From what I
So
remember,
you
I could be
want
thinking.
like a watch for like if you want to watch like a whole bunch of violence.
Mm.
Is
Yeah,
that like how to watch it? You're like
I
there's
would
no
say
story. The
that.
story is like crap.
I would also say there's the trigger because it's teenagers instead of it being like
Okay.
adults.
Mm.
So
So
the trigger.
basically, so we'll talk about the end then because now because they beat the system, they
Mhm.
escaped the island. Now the government put a warrant on for their arrest
Of
for
course,
murder.
they're the ultimate subversives.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on the run.
Mm-hmm.
So
They're
the second one continues right on with the same characters on the run.
only one, and it has nothing to do with those two, if I remember correctly.
Oh my gosh.
It's
What the
3 years
fuck?
after. It has a totally different tone. The actor that takes the place of Kitano is a legendary actor. He's in a lot of Tedeschi Miike films, but it's very cartoonish too, in my opinion.
Oh,
Okay.
And
Because
as I said, I don't want to say too much bad about it because I saw it 2 decades ago.
so you want yeah.
But it was one of those deep watches because for us, as like I said, Battle Royale was a mythical film because unless you had a multi-region player or you could go to some Chinatown and get a boot V CD or something, you were not going to see this film
Mm.
in the United States, especially. Like when it, because it did come up for distribution when Toei decided that because major studios, small studios all wanted Battle Royale to basically be, hopefully, it's going to be this huge thing. It's going to be like, foreign film of the year. But Toei, knowing that they had a good thing, basically put the cap somewhere between $3 to $4 million
Hmm.
to get the rights. Now, there's also the idea that it wasn't released in the United States due to themes and such. Specifically, if you start looking at school shootings and things of that nature,
Mm.
I don't think there's a lot of credence to that. Just because Toei has literally like said that that's just BS. It's just it just took them a
Mm.
while to finally be like, okay, we'll sell the rights to a U.S. distributor, which was eventually in 2010 by Anchor Bay. Man, that was a
Okay.
big day for us cinephiles to have the remastered, incorrect aspect ratio of Battle Royale with the second film as a bonus. But
Nice.
before that, I like 2-3 years before I spent an insane amount of money to get a box set that was available in the UK. This is kind of crazy collecting that we used to do back in the day.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. Like as crazy as it is, as crazy as it sounds, it's awesome
Well, I
because it's
still
just
do
like
it, so
no. I'm glad you do, but
Mhm.
it's one of those things, especially back then, because it's like this is most likely the only way I'm going to watch this. And back then, of course, the internet's not what the internet is now. The technology's
Mhm.
nowhere near where it is now. So it's like you're not thinking, oh shit, this may come out on streaming or this may come out on
Mhm.
this, that, and the third. Like it may come out on this, that, especially when you're seeing nowadays, you're seeing a hell of a lot more movies coming out on like Shout Factory, coming out on all those other, all those other things that are bringing out the Blu-rays and stuff. And then
Mhm.
even streaming platforms are coming back with those because they're like, people really love these older horror movies.
Mhm.
People really love, and those rare weird ones. People really love those. We need to start bringing them
Oh
back
yeah.
out.
Well, one of the things I really, really miss, and I don't want to sound old on this, but it's, okay, so nowadays we have access to so much stuff and the ability to share it and all that good stuff. But,
Mhm.
we know that there are many things, but, cats and porn still take the cake for the internet. I
Mhm.
remember the
Cats and
wondrous
horror.
element of going to these conventions and being like, okay, so I want deep red uncut, Dario
Mhm.
Argento's Gialli, and like I want this, and then the guy goes, so have you heard of Necromantic? This is some sick shit. $20. Boom. If I love that movie, that guy was in my head forever.
Mhm.
He was
Wow.
the cool guy that got me to that next cool film, which we have to an extent, but it's not as personal as it used to be. And I
That's
think that's why you see conventions on the rise, because people want that again. You know?
that's definitely fair to say. That is
Mm.
definitely fair to say because
Mhm.
I'm like that now, and it's a big reason why I do the podcast because I just
Mhm.
miss just sitting around talking horror, and then not only that, but now it makes me reach out and grab and look for other movies than just the stuff that I grew up
Mhm.
with, the stuff that I was used to watching all the time, the stuff that I was introduced to, and all that. I started watching more open, go outside the box of that, and it's fun as hell. It's awesome, but it's still not like in person is always better. Like even if
Mhm.
the rare times I do get to like record or do something like that in person, it's always
Mhm.
better just because it's a different kind of chemistry, it's a different kind of atmosphere. This is awesome though. Don't get me wrong, I love doing this, but in person we'd probably have so
Mhm.
much more fun, so many more
Oh
laughs
yeah.
and everything.
Mhm.
But oh my goodness, like Battle fucking Royale, man. This here was one. It's one of those films where you need to be ready to watch some violent violent teens. Some
If
very
you are
violent teens.
triggered by use in violent situations, I don't recommend this film.
Mm.
Yeah,
Would you say that's safe to say, Sturdy?
that's
Yeah,
fair. That's
Okay.
that's
that's
fair.
perfectly fair right
But
there.
you're
'Cause,
missing out, guys. Just let you
Oh
know.
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
if that doesn't bother you, I'm not saying it's not going to be like oh shit, but it's at the end of the day, it's just a movie. It's a good movie. If you pay attention, watch it as the story. Watch the art of it. Don't necessarily watch it just. It's crazy and as hard as it is to say this. Don't watch it just because of the violence, or don't just pay attention to the violence. Like watch everything else that's going around it. Like how we were talking, how the kids are acting, how they're changing throughout the movie.
Mm.
Watch, like, pay attention to that too. Don't just
What's
focus
great?
on that and come
What,
and talk about that. If you're going into the movie, like say if you go into the movie and you watch it, and you say you don't like it because it's too violent, watch the other parts of it.
what's crazy? They can make a slasher movie where there's adult killing teenagers, but when teens are killing each other, it's like a taboo. It's like a
I
trigger.
mean,
They're like,
I
oh, don't watch that. It's a
the
trigger.
difference is though, James, because like say if it was a teen, because if it was a teen slash, or it was a teen doing the slashing, it would be looked at the same as like a Friday the 13th in the extent of it being a slasher, not on the level of Friday the 13th. I wouldn't disrespect that like that. I'm sorry for even saying that craziness, but versus like, okay, you're forced on this island to go here and take each other out until there's one left,
Mm.
Mhm.
because it would be looked at maybe not as bad, but it'd be looked at bad if it was adults.
Mhm.
Maybe closer to as bad if it was if it was just females.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a killer child film by any stretch of the imagination. Just because the killer child films, and I love killer kid movies. They're
Oh
they're
yeah,
one of my
that's
guilty pleasure. I totally dig them.
oh yeah, they're all, yeah, but
There's
that's
something that is that those they're out of control or whatever
yeah.
reason, and there's not, and they're coming to get the adults. This is very much the opposite. This is
Mm.
children killing children because adults have given them no other way out.
Option. Like literally,
Yeah.
listen, this is the
Mm.
only way you're gonna. It's either this
Yep.
or we're taking you all out. And it's like this is this,
Yep.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
here's the crazy part of it. Before we wrap this one up, is it's like there's other ways of disciplining kids when they're acting up. There's
Hey,
And you thought corporal punishment was bad. It
hey,
was. It was very bad, and it should never be. But in comparison to the BR Act by the Republic of Greater East Asia,
there's
eh,
there's no
I,
there's
I
no
mean,
discussing it. It's all in. They're like, we're just going all in. We're killing these fuckers.
yeah.
Let
This
them
like,
die.
you know what? Fuck this. just
mm,
just think about it. If it's just sent to like one school, there's you know what? Fuck this. James, Trevor, Aaron, we're
mm,
done with your shit. You're going to the
Yeah,
school now.
yeah,
Fuck
you're
it.
going to
Like,
you're going to that
damn,
island. You're going to the
really?
island.
But then
mm,
again, you think it's just like a school for bad kids, and you always wonder why you never hear about certain friends anymore. But you don't know
Yeah.
why until you like get into the school and shit. Because there's
mm,
because it's something to where, which honestly, and this is probably why it's not like discussed amongst other kids, is because it's like how can it be a rumor
mm,
to the extent of I guess in a sense it can be if the adults talk, or if the adults don't talk, the kids are going to this school 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 10, except for this one time, one
Mm.
kid survives and they're already mentally fucked, so they're not gonna. Even if they did say something, who's gonna believe them? And again, at the same time, they're probably not gonna even
No.
talk about it or relive it or anything because it's like, what? Why?
Once you've done that, you are broken. There's
Yeah,
no way you could not be broken.
yeah,
And that is the point of the BR Act, is for the government that is in this dystopian area of Japan. Once that's what it's trying to make people understand, the proletariat and also the progressive and any group that wants to change things or go against the status quo are
that's so much freaking deeper now.
it's some sick
Yeah.
shit too.
That's
Yeah.
so
But
much.
yet
freaking
again,
deeper.
not to be political, not too far away from stuff we're dealing with in the present. And yet again, this is as important as Ray Bradbury, important as Lord of the Flies, important as the Jean Renoir film, The Most Dangerous Game. There's a lot of deep, intense socio-political stuff
Shit.
going on in a movie that is already so amazingly bonkers that you cannot even keep it straight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So, excuse me. I wonder if that book, the Battle Royale book, if that one is on an audiobook. I'd love to check that out.
Oh, I'm certain it is. I'm certain it is. Actually, the one that I have was the original translation, which is actually not that great. But no, I'm certain you can get that.
I'll have to check it out.
It's been translated into, I think, like 50 some languages already.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Now, do you guys remember the movie from Thursday, Loose?
Yes.
But last
Only
Thursday.
asking that. Yes, because we forgot to do ratings.
Did we?
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
we did, because I gave it like a 6.5 or something.
Yeah, we forgot.
Oh.
But
I thought we did give. Wait.
we
Shit.
did Dr. Lamb and then nothing for Thursday, and I didn't realize it till
Oh
probably
man.
I
Let's
don't remember when.
Okay,
get on
hold
that.
on. Let me get my.
I think I gave it like a
Okay.
5. Trevor, you said a 6.5?
6.5.
Okay. Just because we're getting to the ratings for this movie, and I seen that this one was blank, I was like, you know what?
I gave it a 6.
6? All right, cool.
Mm.
I gave it
I just
a 5.
went to my letterbox to see my score that I put
Nice.
in there.
Battle Royale. All right, let's kick it off with Battle Royale. James, what you got? What you got? What you got?
Okay, I really, really enjoyed this. It made me think of a book that's rare. I don't like reading. It made you think of just real life, real shit, and like, what about this really happened type stuff. This movie and the gore, loved it. The kills, cool. I liked how, like, we're talking about how they're like working together and they can easily one little thing, they all snap and try to survive and they're killing each other. I gave this one a 9.
Nice. Trevor?
How can I not? Based on the fact that it was a significant part of my life as far as trying to track down obscure cinema. It was a swan song for one of my all-time favorite Japanese directors. It has Beat Kitano in it, who is just an enigma in the world of Japanese everything. It is one of the best dystopian books and best dystopian films of the last 30 years. Sorry, Hunger Games. So I gotta bring it out. I got it 10.
Boom.
Nice.
Boom.
Boom.
He said 10. I'm gonna give this a 9.5.
Awesome.
Give it a 9.5.
Nice.
This movie is way deeper than I knew it was just from the conversation we had from Trevor's information of this. That's just like.
Well, thank you. I thought it was just rambling endlessly at some point.
No, because
thank you.
because you understand the story, because you just told more of the story for us, like
Mhm.
a deeper part of the story that
Well, thank you.
most may not pick out of it, most may not pull out of it, but it's because of all the
Mhm.
deep research you do and knowledge you have of it, just because of a passion you have, which is awesome.
Especially watching it 17 times.
Yeah, which is awesome as well. Hey,
The number of people I've introduced this film to is that's why I've seen it that many times. It's
I
one of
respect.
those small handful, and for us film lovers, it's a pretty big damn handful, let's be honest. But a
Yeah,
handful of films that we bring out whenever we're like, okay, we're gonna hang out with somebody who likes horror and be like,
yeah.
okay, these are a couple movies. Which ones have you not seen? And
Hmm.
like,
And
we're doing this one.
you know,
Battle Royale is definitely there.
what's funny about that too is like the specific like subgenre
Mhm.
of horror to show that specific friend or family member. You're like, all right, on the crazy scale, they're not gonna like. I can't, it's like I can't talk to Trevor about this.
Mhm.
No disrespect, but it's like Trevor. I need a movie to show, let's say, my younger brother or my
Mhm.
cousin and his girl. They
Well, I
want
can
to check
do
it
that
out.
too. That's not a
Okay,
thing, but I tend to live in the gutters a bit when it comes
yeah.
to my
No,
genre.
you'd be my number one guy. But if it's
And
my
that
brother,
includes Henry Miller to Takashi
speaking of,
Miike. So,
speaking of Henry, if it's my brother Henry, and he needs a movie and he's watching it by himself or with his wife, I'm going to you first. I want the weirdest shit you could think of.
Especially if you can find something to do with feet.
Yep. He's thinking
not that
about it.
hard.
Boom. See?
Yeah.
Any Quentin Tarantino film. There you go.
True.
There's a list.
Yeah.
True. That's true. They always show like someone's feet in all his films, right?
Always. Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
The infamous scene.
Mhm.
I mean, come on, James. That movie was awesome. I only seen it once about a month ago, but that movie's awesome. I'm definitely gonna watch that
Mhm.
again. Holy shit, this movie was good though. This movie
Yeah,
was
movie.
good, and again, it makes you think because like you were saying with the societal
Mhm.
things, James. You're like, holy shit! Like these people really just gave up on the youth, like
Mhm.
literally gave up on the youth, and you're like, you're wondering why the youth is the way it is, and like look at their examples,
Mhm.
terrible examples.
This movie is also important in a little microcosm of Japanese cinema that really changed
Hmm.
how cinema and horror, the direction it went. And it was very 11th century. You had uh, verbally told folklore and stuff like that with yokai. In the 11th century, you had tales of Genji. And then in the turn of the century, you had Edowagawa Rampo, who is like the Lovecraft and Poe of Japan. And it just keeps going up like that. And some of the most important films in Japanese horror were based on books by writers that were very, very influenced by some of the early horror books and also literature books of Japan. Everybody like is like manga, manga, manga. And yes, manga sells like crazy. And it is the popular uh style of reading, but books are still very important, and Japan has this immense literary tradition. So, okay, at this time, about 1998, a film comes out named Ring, and that was a gentleman by the name of Suzuki wrote that novel. Then, well, actually, right before that, I think you had a little movie come out called Audition. It was also based on a
That
novel at the time.
that
Eh,
shit.
Yeah. And
Another.
then you had Battle Royale. And then you had a lot of films also by Suzuki that came out. The Dark Water, some of the follow-ups to Ring. This was a really they were putting this like I said about the yokai. So yokai are ghosts,
Hmm.
and yokai are mythical beings in Japanese literature and folklore. And you know, that's why these books were such amazing places to adapt for films like Ring and stuff like that, because they brought all that creepy history of Japan and moved it, like these books, into the contemporary world. And it was just really cool to see that there's a time period there where adaptations and a certain group of directors could literally change the direction of an entire genre in a country.
I don't even know what to say after that.
Japan. This is the other thing, Japan. Maybe because it's a country that no matter what, it has felt the necessity to say what it means and be heard, especially since it's been for so long it was repressed. But the literature and entertainment of all kinds, Japan just has this very distinct flavor to it that is quite subversive. I mean, even, when you go back to like no plays and stuff like that, there's the artists in Japan have always been pushing against the system. Even Yasuhiro Ozu, who's known for his amazing family films, was making, he made this film called Good Morning that was very much a his take on the the family unit at that time. So yeah, Japan, as far as a one country that I would say you could just go deep diving in media to the point that you will just get lost, it actually is Japan. Yeah.
Japan.
Nice.
It's amazing for an island, the islands that small. It just produces so much amazing stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, but like, I'll say Asian horror cinema in general. If you wanted to go for foreign horror, hands down my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down my favorite.
Japan, then Korea, and then you
yeah.
had Vietnam, and then so it was a natural progression once you had these like key films in the Japanese horror. Once they became popular, of course, you had new countries doing horror films, and of course, we started going, "Ooh, let's remake it."
Yeah.
It's just
this one.
Still to this point, it's still a lame thing, that at the time, these films should just have been dubbed, even though everybody. No, there's nothing wrong with dubbing. Dubbing helps people see things.
I will say yes with the dubbing, but also give us the option. So if you want to watch it in its regular form with subtitles, with or without subtitles, of course, but
exactly.
give us that,
So,
or if you want the dubbing.
No, some people will actually, because there are a lot of very, very classic foreign films that a lot of people don't see because they have the subtitle effect, and that's fine. I would say that most films that are dubbed, you're still going to get a very, very rewarding experience from a lot of foreign films. And also, some of the biggest foreign films in history were first introduced to the United States in dubbed versions as a form of respect, so more people would come to them. So, I always will go the route of subtitles, but don't let anybody ever tell you, "Oh, you're not a real cinema fan because you watch the dubbed version."
Right.
No, I will say this though. I will say this. I do agree with you. I do agree with you 100%, Trevor. But I do want to challenge people that love cinema, that really love cinema. You sit down, you watch a movie. If you watch a movie damn near every day, you love cinema. You know what I mean? You know who I'm talking to. And if you don't watch, if you skip foreign films because of what we're discussing, yes, do the dubbed, of course, 1,000% do the dub, just maybe to get used to seeing the visuals of it. But challenge yourself every now and then to do the subtitles. And I say that because I promise you, after you do, say you watch movies, let's just say you do them, you watch the dub ones, and say you do them once a week, right? After about 2 months, maybe try one. Just try one, and then go back to doing your. And just sneak one in there every now and then, and eventually, you're gonna start just watching those, and you're gonna be like myself, Trevor, and James, and get mad when you can't find the non-dubbed version. And you're like, "Why the fuck do I gotta watch this shit in English?"
I
But
don't
yes,
know how my
I can
mind does
understand
this,
it and all
but
that. But
the
this is
easiest way
important.
for me to do that now, and I hate to say because would rather, but if I'm in a hurry or I need to like multitask, and
That's
it is available as a dub,
understandable.
I will watch the dub but I will have the subtitles set for the original language. So as I'm listening, I'm loosely reading, and if something goes off, I will automatically go to the subtitles for more information. That
Mm.
works for my brain somehow.
Wait a second.
Otherwise, I have to focus 100% on a film.
You could read that?
Yeah.
That's man. What is that called? That's not the
I
script.
can.
The
Oh, the subtitle. It's literally just reading. So you have subtitle options. Well, streaming not, but a lot of like physical media, you will
yeah.
have like, the for the hearing impaired, and then also you have the English subtitles for the dub. What I'll do sometimes is watch the dub, but have the subtitles on for the not dubbed version.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you
Yeah.
can read
But
that.
no, it's still in English. He has it in English still, though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. I was
Yeah.
misunderstanding. I was
I
thinking you
can
had it.
loosely watch then, and if my eye catches that something just doesn't, like, it's completely not making any sense, my attention will get back on that to be like, okay, I need to watch more of the original. But I don't know, it's
Okay,
easier for me to
okay,
now, as far as watching something in its original language, I almost have to try to give 100%.
Mm.
and that's what I was thinking with the subtitles. I was
Mm.
thinking you watch the dub version, but put the subtitles in the original language. I was like,
Yeah,
that's why I was like, wait, you
what I
could
did.
read that?
Yeah. I've got a weird, neurodivergent mind, so I don't know how it
That's
works sometimes.
awesome. I wish I could do that. I mean, yeah, I wish I could do that. Shit, I'd put everything in sub just to piss
I
people
still,
off.
I mean,
I'd do it.
those are experiences I leave movies and I don't, get as much out of them than I like, I will focus on it, but it's something I have done in the past if I'm in a hurry.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Mm.
But before we get out of here, people, which I do want to say this, make sure you check out Trevor at Ambassador Radio.
Thank you
Check
again,
out
guys.
James and myself over on Popcorn and Pints. We're gonna be doing the Harry Potter movies 1 and 2 this week, and we're kicking it off with those now. We finished
Sorcerer's Stone
Fantastic
and
Beasts.
Chamber of Secrets.
Yep, what he said. And of course, come right over here, Horror with Sturdy, every Tuesday and Thursday during Sturd-o-ween at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and let you guys know what we're gonna be doing on Thursday. Traveling to Spain. Sleep tight.
Mientras duermes.
Yep. That means sleep tight, people.
Sleep tight.
No, I
Don't
didn't
let
learn Spanish from this
Don't
week.
let the bed bugs bite.
I learned a
Lying
little-
dreams is the more, I think, direct translation.
Say that again.
Lying dreams
Blind dreams.
or lying sleep,
Oh, lying.
Lying.
Sleep.
like somebody lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I can't wait to see it though. It is on Shutter, I believe.
I'm
Cool.
excited to see it because I don't know anything about it, so it's
Me
total
either.
first thing for me.
Oh yeah, going into this blind, like I try to do a lot. But yeah, come check us out and go check out @_sturdy @_Sturdy on TikTok. Go check out my TikTok, guys. I've been pretty busy over there lately.
Mhm.
Before we get out of here, and don't smoke crack.
Okay.
No matter what
That's
you do in
good
life,
advice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
don't
good
do
advice.
crack or meth.
Mm.
Don't do that. Get it out of your brain. Go through whatever you got to go through. Do some push-ups. On that note, we're gonna get out of here. I'll see you in your nightmares. Peace. Remember,
Peace.
crack is whack.